Hi friends, today we will see how to create a quotation in EVA ERP. So to create quotation there are three different ways. First, it's from the quotation screen itself. Second, it's from the lead screen. And third, it's from the quotation screen. So let's get to know all of the three methods one by one. Let's start with the first method, which is from the quotation screen. So first we'll have to pull up the quotation screen here. So we will click on the service module here on the top. Then we will click on the service menu here and then on the quotation menu. So this is the screen where you will be creating your quotation. The first section is customer information. The first row in this section consists the customer's information. So you can enter or you can provide the customer details for which you are creating this quotation. So I'll use the same customer for which we created a lead in our last session. So I'll use the same customer here, which is Rahul Tiwari. So I typed in the name and the system is already giving me a suggestion. So I'll select that suggestion here, so which will fill all the information for that customer in my first row. So in second row, in quotation ID, the EVA software will allot a unique ID to this document after saving. So once we click on the save button, the system will allot this document a unique ID and it will get printed here. So next is the lead ID. So if we are creating this quotation from a lead, that lead's document ID will get automatically mapped here. Next is the order ID. So if this quotation is accepted by the customer and we create an order from the quotation screen, that order ID will be automatically mapped here in this box. Next is the valid until date. This is a mandatory field. Here we will give an expiry date for this quotation. So this date will decide the validity of this quotation. So I have selected the 1st of January 2020. So on 1st of Jan, this quotation will expire. And next is the quotation date, which is also a mandatory field. Here by default, the current date will be auto selected. And if you want to change it, you can change as well. So in other terms, this system allows you to create backdated quotations as well. So next is the follow-up date. It works same as it did in the lead. We have seen it in our previous session. So after sending the quotation, you can select a date here on which you are going to follow up with the customer. So let's say I'm selecting the same date. Next is the reference number. So prior to EVA, if you're using any old software, you can put the old quotations ID and date here as a legacy information. So it's an option. You can keep it blank as well. Next, moving towards the sales information section. So first, by default, the status of this quotation will be created. Second is the priority. So you can, according to the customer or the revenue they are bringing in, you can select the priority for this quotation. Next is the branch. It is nothing but the branch under which this quotation is being created. This is a mandatory field. Next is the salesperson, the person who is handling this customer. So I'll select my name here. This is also a mandatory field. Next is the payment method. This is an option. So if you know the method that customer is going to pay by, you can select it here. You can have it pre-configured in EVA software, or if you don't know, you can simply keep it blank as well. So next is the quotation group. So we have already created few groups in this system with revised, with inspection and without inspection. So if the quotation that you're creating is a revised quotation, you can simply select the revised group from this list. And if you have already inspected the premise before sending the quotation, you can select the with inspection option. Otherwise, you can simply select without inspection. So let's say I have already inspected the premise before I send this quotation to them. So I'll select the with inspection option here. Next is the quotation category. So let's categorize this quotation into the commercial or the residential category. So as this was the residential customer, I will select the residential option in the category, and we have selected the 2 BHK flat in the customer as well. So I'll select the residential and 2 BHK flat. Next is the approver name. So here you will select the name of the person who is going to approve this document. It could be yourself as well, or a person whom you report to. So we can send this document to the approver so that they can go through it and approve the document before sending it to the customer. So let's say I'm going to approve it myself. So I'll select my name here. So next is the credit period. This is an optional field. Here you can enter the number of days after which you expect a payment from customer once you have sent them an invoice. This is only for the internal use. Next is the premise under contract. So here, as I have selected this quotation under the group of with inspection, so I can enter the premise which are under the contract for this quotation. So I'll simply enter the premise which needs the service. For example, this is a quotation for our bed bug service. So I'll simply select the bedroom and living room. Okay, so these are the two premises which are under contract. Inspected by, I'll type in the name of the person who inspected it. So let's say Amol Mahajan is the person from my office who went to the customer for the inspection. Inspection date, on what date Amol Mahajan went to the customer's home. So let's say he went there yesterday. So I'll select the yesterday's date here, and it's asking me for a designation for the person who went there for the inspection. So I'll simply say senior executive. So these all are the optional field. Okay, you can and this is only for the internal use, so you can keep them blank as well in case if you don't know this information or you don't want to keep a record of this information. So the next is the description. So here you can provide any additional information regarding this quotation, or you can keep it blank as well, as this is an option. So next is document section. So here you can upload the terms and condition documents, same as we discussed in the lead. Or if you have any customized quotation that you want to keep a record of, you can simply check this box, which will allow you to upload that customized quotation here, or simply you can uncheck this box. So this is an option again. So next is the payment terms detail. Here we define the payment terms for the contract with this customer. So if the payment terms are evenly distributed, so if the payments are 50% advance and 50% after sign up of the contract, you can have them pre-configured in the system here, which you will find here in the second row in payment terms drop box. Or if they are making monthly payments, you can configure it as well, or the quarterly payments, or they're paying the entire amount as an advance, you can have it configured here. So you just have to select the desired option from this list. So if you check this box, the system will assume that the payment date is same as the start date of the contract, or you can have it unchecked as well. This is an option. If you know the payment date, you can have it entered here, or you can keep it blank as well. And if the payment terms are not evenly distributed, if it is 60% advance and 40% after the sign up of the contract, so in that case we cannot pre-configure them in the system. So you'll have to enter those payment terms manually. So let's take an example of oddly distributed payment. So let's say that the payment terms are for the 60-40, which is 60% advance and 40% after 1 month of the contract sign up. So as the 60% is going to be an advance, so in days I'll enter 0, in percent I will enter at 60, and in comment I'll say advance payment, and I will click on the add button here. So this record got added here in the table below. So now the next and remaining payment term, which is after 1 month of the contract sign up. So I'll say after 30 days, 40% of the payment, which is going to be a final payment, and I'll click on the add button. So now I have two payment terms added here, 60 and 40. So that makes 100% of the total payment. Now that we have entered the payment term details here, we can proceed. Next is the product. So I'll add the product information here. So as we have discussed before, we are creating this quotation for the customer named Rahul Tiwari against a service for bedbug. So I'll simply type in the bedbug service. I'll select the bedbug management service yearly, and I'll click on the add button here. Okay, so I can provide all the information about my service here. So this service is going to be valid for 365 days, that is for 1 year, and in 1 year I'll be providing them 3 services, and the price which I have offered them is, let's say it is 3,000. So I'll simply enter the price and I'll hit enter. Let's check with the taxes if they are correctly selected or not. I'll just have to scroll it towards the right. Okay, so yes, the taxes are appropriate. Okay, so let's move on. So I have all the information which I need to create a quotation. So you can see the 3,000 price plus the GST that I have selected, and the total payable amount will be 3,540 including taxes. So once I am assured that all the information is filled in, so I'll just simply have to click on the save button. So now I'll click on the save button. So data successfully saved. So once I click on OK, you can see here that system has allotted this document with a unique ID. Okay, and you can just double check it. As this is still in the created mode, you can change any of these values here. You just simply have to click on the edit button here on the top, which will allow you to make changes here anywhere. Okay, and as the approver person is myself, that's why the system is giving me an option for the submit. So in case if I'm sending this document to my reporting manager for the approval, so I'll just simply have to select his name. So I click on the edit button here on the top. I'll select my reporting manager's name here, and I'll save the document. So now instead of the submit button, it will give me a button which says request for approval. So if I click on this button, an email will be sent to my reporting manager saying that there is a quotation pending for your approval. So he'll view the quotation and he will check for any mistakes and he will approve the document. So here, let's approve it ourselves. So I'll simply select it back to my name. Okay, so I'm selecting here my name from the list and I'll save the document. Now it's giving me an option to submit. Okay, so once I click on the submit option, the status of this document will change to approved. Okay, so now before approving this document, let's see or let's check if everything is right or not. So I'll simply click on the print option here on the upper right corner of the screen, and it gives me an option which says, do you want to print on pre-printed stationery? So if you are going to print this quotation on a pre-printed letterhead that you have, you will select the yes option. And if you are printing this quotation on a blank piece of paper, you will select the no option here. So you can have your company's header and footer uploaded in the system, which will be configured in such a way that on a blank document you will have them in the print. So let's see. So I selected no here. That popped up a new window. So I'll simply maximize it. So this is the quotation document that we just created for the customer named Rahul Tiwari. This is his address and his details. And if we scroll down, we can see the product information as well. The bedbug management service yearly, the contract period, the number of services, the rate, the taxes, the payment terms, and the banking details. Okay, so here you can see a watermark called draft here that is appearing because we haven't submitted this document yet. So we'll click on the submit option here. So now the status of this document changed to approve. Now if you see, you will not find that draft watermark on the top on the document anymore. So this is your final quotation, which you can mail to the customer as an attachment of an email, or if you want to send it directly from EVA ERP, there is a button which says email in the upper right corner here. If you click on it, the EVA ERP will send this quotation automatically to the customer. Given that, you should have a customer's email address added in the customer's profile. Now let's move on towards the next method, which is from the lead screen. So I'll simply click on the home button here. So I'm back to the home screen. Okay, so let's see how to create a quotation from a lead screen. So first I'll have to pull up the lead for the same customer. Okay, so let's pull up the same lead that we created in our last session for the same customer. So I'll search in the lead with the customer's name. So I'll simply type in the customer's name, I'll hit enter, and I'll click on go. So this is the lead that we created in our last session. So I'll simply click on it. Okay, so that will pull up this lead in front of me. And now on this lead, you can see there is an option here on the top of this document which says create quotation. So if I select this option, or if I click on this button, this will directly take me to the quotation screen with all the customer details that we have provided in the lead. Okay, so let's see. So I have the customer's name entered here. So I just simply have to enter the validity date for this quotation. I have the lead ID mapped here automatically, the priority which I'll have to select here, the branch, the salesperson, all these details are auto-filled with the reference of the lead from which we are creating this document. So you just have to fill in all missing and the mandatory information. So I'm selecting my name here as an approver. Okay, so I have the product information already added here. I'll simply have to enter the payment term. So let's say I'm asking them for 100% advance in this example. So I'll simply select the start of the period checkbox. I'll select 100% advance and I'll click on add button. So that will add my first payment as 100% advance. Okay, so now I have all the information here. I'll simply have to click on the save button and this quotation will be generated. The third and the last method that we can create a quotation with is from the customer screen itself. So let's get back to the home screen. So first we'll have to pull up the customer's profile for which the quotation is to be created. So I'll go to the customer. I'll simply search for the name of that customer. So let's say the same customer that we are using, Mr. Rahul Tiwari. So I selected his name. I hit on go. and this is the customer profile that I have. And on this customer profile, I have the button, the second button here on the top, which says create quotation. So if I click on the create quotation button, that will take me to the quotation screen with all the customer information. Since we are creating this from a customer screen, we will not have the product details in this quotation. So this is how you can create a quotation in EVA ERP. Thank you so much for watching the video.